Donna.
Mumford & Sons there, I will wait. You're not a real band until you've smashed Red Rocks, apparently. So there you go, I can tick that off the list.
What does that mean?
Red Rocks is a place in Colorado. It's like beautiful natural amphitheatre and a lot of bands. Like it's one of the holy grails of live music all across the world.
And by smashed you mean done a good gig?
Crushed it, killed it, slaying.
Actually.
Yeah.
Right.
They defaced it. They're not allowed back.
I once watched the DVD of Incubus playing at Red Rocks.
Neil Young's Cowgirl and Sand, Raining at Red Rocks is one of the best things you can watch musically, I think.
I'll go home and do that.
He's coming. Neil Young and Crazy Horse are coming. It's going to be amazing.
I heard a release. Have you got any of his new stuff?
Nah.
No.
Haven't listened to his new stuff.
You guys haven't smashed Red Rock?
Oh, we haven't smashed Red Rock.
No. I heard a release on... Charlotte played it on Morning Glory on BFM once, and I did like it.
Yeah, he's a don. You know, he converted like a 57 Chevy into a smart car and drove across the states to
himself?
well, no, him and some engineers and stuff to promote fuel efficiency and using smart cars. Go Neil Young.
Ah, good.
Anyway, finishing off with the review of the biography of David Foster Wallace.
Yes. So, I was going to say that a lot of people are morbidly interested in his death, me included. I don't really know why that is, and I'm sure that would annoy him, no end. But he hanged himself, and that was in 2008 he passed away. Oh. And I did read a really wonderful interview with Karen Green, who was his wife, and that isn't covered in this book. It's in The Guardian, so if you Google her name, Karen Green, it'll just come up as her interview with The Guardian about David Foster Wallace. And I know I'm supposed to be reviewing this book, but I do have to say that this article is really beautiful and gut-wrenching. Like, it's quite painful to read in many ways. But she was really wonderful. She completely fell in love with her. She was the one that found him, so they were sort of monitoring him for a really long period of time and hoping that nothing would happen. I think he had a couple of attempts before he managed to succeed. And then she came home from the shopping and he'd hanged himself. But he'd also left his pile of manuscripts and odds and ends for what would become the posthumously published book, The Pale King. And he'd left them tidy, because it was extremely messy, so they were tidy, which was the first indicator that something was important about them. And then he'd left all these lamps. Yeah, he wrote by lamplight, and he left the lamps with the light illuminating the manuscripts. So
he wanted it to get out there.
He wanted it to get published.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a qualm that a lot of people had about the publication of that book. And the other thing about him that was interesting, you know, on that same vein, which is depression, and he didn't the thing that's so good about this book in particular is that he danced around a lot of topics that were interesting in his life. So he went to AA groups, support groups, but in his fiction he described these most intimately, and they were covered up as church groups. He would reference relationships, but they were within characters, and the same thing with his depression. So he would talk about depression, but only from the mouth of a character. And there's this absolutely gut-wrenching description that I'd like to share with you, just to depress you thoroughly on your Monday evening, of depression.
Not too much, though.
Well, Connor can, like, do a dance or something afterwards to make you feel better about yourself.
I'm not going to do a dance. I'm not a clown.
Pick a happy song to...
Go and pick a happy song, and I'll read something depressing to all of the people who are listening.
Go, depress the nation.
I just think it's such a wonderful idea, because people criticise depressed people for committing suicide. There's a huge group of people that think it's selfish or whatever, and they just simply... I think this is a very good argument for how completely unaware of the depth of misery that people who would make that decision are in. Yeah, and so this is a character saying this, but one can presume that it's from the point of view of David Foster Wallace himself. He said it's like being completely, totally, utterly sick. Imagine that every cell in your body, every single cell in our body is as sick as a nauseated stomach. Not just your own cells even, but the E. coli and lactobacillia, the mitochondria, sorry, I do know how to say that word. Basal bodies, all sick and boiling and hot like maggots in your neck, your brain, all over, everywhere and everything. Just sick as hell. And he goes on to say that there is, like a nauseated stomach, though, no way of vomiting and purging and getting this pain gone.
That is depressing.
Thanks for that. I can do that any Monday night that you like.
That's good. But it sounds good. It's good. It's great words. Great selection of words.
A good selection of words.
Yeah. He chose them well, and he put them to a good order.
More science even, I would have thought, was about to come out as well.
He actually studied like metaphysics, and he didn't do creative writing until the final year of his degree, where he found it. He did maths, metaphysics, like high-end mathematical order stuff.
No kidding.
Yeah, he has a very astute brain for those kind of things.
Still write for the television generation.
Yeah, genius, you know, like really broadly understood things. Anyway, if you're interested or you'd like to become interested, then this is definitely the way to go.
Yeah, and so he does a good job. He is a very sort of massive task of taking on that work.
Yeah, D.T. Max is a good biographer of a huge and sort of querulous topic, so he does a wonderful job.
Awesome. All right, Thank you very much, Lily. As
That's a
per
pleasure.
usual.
How much is a
Very
book?
impressed.
How much is that book?
I don't know. This is a reading copy I got given. I'm going to hazard a guess that it's between $37 and $45. It's a hardback.
It's good. Because you can hold on to that for life.
You collect books.
Well, you would if I collect books. You know,
got
if
some
you're
books.
a buyer, if you're a book buyer, if you're a lender.
How popular are libraries in this moment in time? Still pretty popular?
I have no idea. I'm quite a fan of libraries. For
Not look
kids,
into
they're
that.
still good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, let's play a not depressing song.
All right.
Okay, what do you got?
Metronomy,
Oh, which one?
A Thing for You.
That's a great
For me.
song. I think for me,
Think
yeah.
for me.
I think for me. This is awesome. Say goodbye, Lily. Thank you very much for coming in and reviewing Old Mate Foster Wallace.
Anytime.